Good evening, everyone. It's Tanya or Sissy from Sissy's Cards and Crafts. Welcome to my craft room. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Eastern Ontario, Canada. I'm just going to have the one camera tonight, so you don't have to look at me tonight. Sorry, I've been away for a little bit. My husband, who works shift work, took a couple weeks off, so we wanted to make sure that we spent some time together and kind of put other things on the side. So I am back. He's back at work. He works nights, hence me being on late at night. And I still haven't fixed my squeaky chair, but I am fixing up my craft room, which is nice. I'm being able to sort that out, rearrange things. So hopefully we're moving forward and we can have some better viewing area and be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. But thanks again for putting up with me. And I do plan on scheduling a couple live things. I will schedule them and we will hopefully craft together, or at least being able to communicate together. So I am looking forward to that. The new catalog is available for demonstrators to look at. So there's new product coming out. Honestly, though, I'm still catching up from the last catalog. And as I'm perusing the new one, thinking, oh man, there's some things I really like. I realized, you know what? I still haven't played with a lot of the stuff that I have. And with Easter coming up, I had all intentions of using this Storybook Friends set for some of my Easter cards. So I'm just opened it up tonight and playing around. With that is the Designer's Series paper. I've showed previously, there's quite a few different pieces. Mine's kind of all chopped up at the moment, but we're obviously going to look at a couple of them tonight. So the card I thought we would do tonight, again, using the Storybook Friends set. So the stamps and dies we're going to use. Just one die, and I'm going to try it. Got a plan that I hopefully will work out. But we'll work together. We'll play together and figure it out. This is the card we're going to do a variation of this card. It's a triple fold card, and it's a whole lot easier than you might think. So we have our standard A2 card, I believe, which is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So really, it's just a half sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 paper. But this one will open this way and then again this way. So it's that triple fold. And you might be thinking, well, you just said, Sissy, that it is 8 1/2 by 11, half of that. Well, we took a piece of that and we actually just kind of glued it on the back you can see the edge there that's glued on to make it that triple fold. Then I also cut a circle in that so I could have a circle to emboss here, and then I had the opening here. And what I used for that was the Stylus Shapes dies. So it works really well because it cuts and it gives you that finished edge here, and it gives you the finished edge. So it made it really simple. However, I'm going to kind of complicate things with the next card and try to use a couple of the dies. I believe it was Amy K, I want to say, that originally I got this design from. I have seen it around before. She did hers a little bit differently, but it's basically the same design. Then with the Designer Series paper, so we get with the set, the stamps and the dies, so we can stamp whatever character we want. And they're so cute, little bunnies and squirrels and raccoons and all that. They're really, really cute. But the Designer Series paper also came with 2 sheets of these die cuts. So there's tons of them here, and they're all really quite sweet. And like I say, 2 sheets, so you kind of have 2 of everything. So we'll look at that a little bit closer when we kind of go to work on our card. I also brought out the Distress Tile embossing folder. The demonstrator I saw do this on, she stamped on the back and kind of gave a background, then put the die cut on. I tried that, and honestly, it just didn't look right to me. And so I thought, why not emboss that and give it just a little bit more depth, and then use the dies, so, or the ephemera. All right, so that's kind of the goal. For this, I thought we would use Old Olive because of this piece here I quite like. The back of it has these cutouts, which is nice. I struggle with using them. I think they're great, and I think something like this I can see using quite easily as a border or something on my card. But these other pieces, I'm just, I'll see cards done with them, and I'm like, man, that's really creative. Why didn't I think of that? But then I sit down to do it, and it just never works out. So I'm quite happy cutting this side of the paper. I'm going to take my Old Olive, and like I said, it is half a sheet. So I'm going to cut it here, put it into my paper trimmer, and I'm going to go cut it at 5.5 mark. So I'm getting a nice cut. Like I say, there's half a sheet. I'm going to take that one side, and I'm going to score it at 4.25, because that is where I want my card to be, to fold on. Oops, I popped my scoring blade out. So there's my scoring. I'm going to fold that over, make sure it is even, right? And then fold it down and use my bone folder to really get that edge nice and sharp. Okay, so then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take half of this. It would be my 4.25. I want to go just 1/8 of an inch shy of that, because I need to put it in here. So I need to have, I don't want that the full width, because this fold is going to be a bit of a problem. So 4 3/8 is what I want, right? 4.25, no, 4 1/8 would be what I want, because 4.25 would be 2/8, right? So I'm just going to go half of that. And, or no, wait a minute. I was right with 4, and I want to go over 1/8. I do know what I'm doing here. So if I want 4.25, I want to go over. So 4 3/8. So that's my 4 3/8. I know what I'm talking about here. It might not seem like it at the moment, but what I need is, so there's my card there, and see how I've got that edge? That is 1/8, right? Basically, I want to make that my fold. So I'm going to score it. So now what I've done is I just go in and I'm like, okay, that's that 4 1/8 is what I want. That's where I line it up. And then I'm coming in with my scoring blade, and I'm going to score there. So this is that, from my score here is that 4 1/8. So now I have this little lip that I'm going to fold over and burnish. So there's that edge that I'm going to glue. And I've seen where some people will glue it like this, so it's on the inside. But I want to glue it so it's on the outside. And the reason I want to do that is so when I open it up, it's not an edge here. I'd rather that be at the back. So that's the plan for that. But before we glue it, I'm just going to set that aside so that that's done. What I want to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to have to get the other sheet of paper out like this. Am I going to get 2 out of this? Probably not. I'm just, well, 8. If I do 4, No, I'm just going to do 2 sheets or 2 of this. So I will. All right. I know. You might not think I know, but I know. All right. So I want to do my piece that's going to go on the front here. And then there's going to be another piece here on the front that are going to be my designer series paper, right? So like I did here. So that's my goal. So the front of my card is that 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So right off the bat, I'm just going to go 5 3/8. What I want for the front, or for both, 5 3/8 is going to be the height that I want there, right? So then my 4 1/4, I want 4 1/8 to do my front. So it's just giving that little bit of a, allows that green to, or mossy meadow to be behind. And I have a nice border around. Let me just see. Oh, I might, no, see, it's a little too thin. I need just, isn't that shy? Just shy, probably 1/8. So we will, let me measure that again. To just, and I'm measuring it from the fold. So it's that 4 1/8. So I want 3 7/8 for my width. And then that's 5 3/8. Yeah. How did I do that again? Wait a minute. I just cut that again. Oh, I cut the wrong one. Oh, do it again. We'll do it again. That's what we're going to do. So 5 3/8. That's right. Yep. And what did I measure this at? 4 1/8. And I want 1/4. So that would be 3 7/8. Why can't I figure that out? I think I get it. If this doesn't work, we're sticking with what we got. It's still better. All right. I can actually glue this on. I'm going to do that so I know I've got it and I'm not messing around with it. So as I started to mention, the new catalog is out. It will not go live until next month for everybody, but demonstrators. And if you want to be a demonstrator, if you've been thinking about it, now is a great time because you can get on, you can sign up for that $135 Canadian and get access to the new product. And so that's going to go on like that. So that is always a good deal. Works really well for those that are wanting to start. And like I've said before, you do not have to be a demonstrator that sells, that does videos and sells and all that stuff. That's not who you need to be. You can, by all means, do that. And if that's something you want to know more information about, then give me, message me through Facebook or send me email at sissyscardsandcrafts@gmail.com. And I will let you know more about the selling part of it if you're in Canada. If you are outside of Canada, find a demonstrator. I'm not really familiar with other demonstrators outside of Canada, so you'll have to find somebody that way. But in Canada, I can definitely give you some information, hopefully, for what I know. I'm not a whole fully versed in everything, but I know where to go to find the information, or who to ask. Yes, I could say. So that's one thing. But you don't have to be that. You can just be a hobby demonstrator. And that is somebody that will just basically get the good deals. So this is 2 3/4 and what? And you get those deals before everybody else, which is really nice. That is a big help, because you can see something you like online when it is released, and then you go to order it and it's no longer available, or it's not available and you have to wait, because when new stuff comes out, it goes lickety split. And also part of the new release is all of the new in colors for this upcoming the next 2 years. So every 2 years, or every year rather, in colors are released, and so we have 2 sets of in colors kind of on the go at all times. We had ones that were released. They're retiring now, so they were out 2023 2024, and they're going to now be no longer available. They're retiring, and the ones that came out last year, so 2024 2025, they'll retire next year. And then we have ones that'll come out being released this year, and they will be here for 2 years. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so what I did is I used this frame, which I think is just gorgeous. It was one of the things that I really drew me to this set, other than the cute little bunnies. The paper's, like, everything's just amazing. And then it comes, if you got the full, so it's kind of like I'm going to call it a super suite. I don't believe that's the term that we use. Mega suite, maybe. And it has 2 die sets. Sometimes comes with, well, this came with 2 sets of DSP. There's a 6x6 package of paper that came with it. Plaid type paper, which is really cute. And then the garden dies. So there's all sorts of cute garden dies as well, and it coordinates with the paper. So the Mega Suite was what and a ribbon and jewels came with it as well. But I just thought this was so cute, these frames. So what I want to do is I want to use this frame on the front of my card. So with the other card that I designed here first, or I did first, I just went, because I had that embossed edge, I didn't bother doing any more. I added these flowers around it. But this one, I actually want to take and put this frame on there. I think that is just so pretty. Now, and I've seen the demonstrator that did this, she actually had, she had done this, but she had another set of dies, and I can't think right now what they were. But that set of dies came with an oval that pretty much matched that. So she used the oval to cut this part out. And I can't do that because I don't have that set. So what I want to do is I am going to maybe go out on a limb here. I want to center this. So first off, I'm going to make sure my paper's straight. And then I just kind of center this. I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm going to just line this out here. I'm going to leave that pencil line, but then I'm going to also take my craft knife. I'm going to leave the metal there, or the frame there, and I'm going to use my craft knife to cut around. Hopefully I'm going to get on that pencil line, but I put the pencil line there just in case I have to move this. Then I know where I'm going to go back. So just using my craft knife to cut. I have this center here already, so I don't need to keep this middle part. Of course, be very, very careful when you're doing this with a craft knife. And there's a couple bumps on this that are causing me a bit of kerfuffle. Now, I didn't glue this part here. I'm going to have to come in and glue it. I used, when I did the other one, because the die was giving me that embossed edge, or those little edges there, it kind of sealed the paper together. So this is not going to do that. I'm going to have to stick the glue in there, which will help. But okay, so I'm coming here. Oh, look at that. I only got one layer. That's just not going to be as easy as I thought it was. But if you go slow and steady, you'll get it. We can clean it up a little bit, and we're going to have the frame covering it. So hopefully it won't look as rough as what it does right now. But I can clean it up. And paper is fiber, right? Like it's full of fibers. Like I said, it absorbs the ink, all that stuff. So we can also use something like sandpaper on it to help with the edges. So if I have to pull out some sandpaper, we'll do that just to the edges. You have to be careful when you're using DSP, because it'll rub off the picture, and we don't want to do that. But if there we go. Oh, there's those little rough edges on the die just left kind of an edge. Now this part here will be seen at the back, so that's something to keep in mind. But like I said, I used this sandpaper for something else just the other day, so it's kind of got some. But I can just kind of smooth those edges out a little bit with that sandpaper. And because this is solid core paper, meaning that the color runs the whole way through the paper, it's not going to show anything. Whereas if it had a white core in the middle, I'd be making that white core very visible. Which sometimes that's the look you want to go for, other times not so much. All right, so I think that's fairly smooth there. This spot here didn't go nice and smooth as I wanted it to, but I think we're good. Okay, and then here, if I did this correctly, I'm going to be able to pop this on. Oh, see, it's big. I may have to trim it down some more. Okay. All right. So much for doing the sandpaper. So I'm just going to come in and trim just a little bit off with my scissors. I guess I should have checked that before I started sandpaper. Anyway. Paper crafting is full of mistakes, but paper can be very forgiving, and you can usually fix a problem quite easily. when you're paper crafting, which is a joy and not something where you're like, I worked and worked and worked at that and now it's all done and I'm never going to get it to look the way I want it to. All right. Let's double check that now. So now we have, other than this one edge here, obviously if I had the dies, it would make it so much easier, but I can't use this die because it'll cut out the whole frame and I don't want to do that. All right, now I'm just gonna little edge there that I want to get rid of. So again, note that I'm doing this on the solid cardstock, not the DSP, because the DSP is a little bit thinner and I don't want to create a white area. All right, I want to put some glue in here just to make sure that stays down. And I could have glued that, I guess, before, but I wasn't thinking. Wasn't thinking. That happens. Not always 100% on the ball. I like to think I am, but I'm not. All right, so that will dry. I'm not gonna play around with it anymore. Let me get a wet wipe here to get the glue off my fingers. Glue off this. And my little ones, my children were little ones, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We didn't have a lot of wet wipes. They were around, but the whole use sensitive ones or having sensitive ones rather to use, or non-alcohol ones. They were quite harsh is what I'm trying to say when my kids were little. And so we didn't use a lot of wet wipes or baby wipes. I ended up using more just wet washcloths. So all of that to say I use more baby wipes now than I did when my children were babies. All right, I'm going to use this piece here. So this was the piece that originally cut out from here. So that's the inset piece. And I want to emboss it. And I'm going to find a spot on this embossing folder that I think will look well. And then I'm just going to lay it like that. And I'm going to emboss it. Now my embossing machine is actually on the floor, so bear with me. Because it is my loud squeaky chair, it's a 3D embossing folder, so you have to use the other 3D piece with your Stamp & Cut Emboss machine. And this, of course, is too big to use with the mini, so I had to use my large one. All right, so you can see how that is I've embossed that. That's gonna sit in that center. We're gonna glue this on here. So we cover those edges, and then you're gonna see that embossed piece. Really, it's gonna go on here like that, right? So then when we open this up, there we go. What you see will be this, and we'll put our characters on there. So let's get this ready. Previous times I have told you kind of the secret of this, and that is that if you put it on in I like just little dots. So try to get it flowing, and then just come through and like tap it up and down, get the glue on there. It will be just a very little bit of glue, and I'm doing it on my glass mat so I can wipe the excess off if I do miss, that's fine. But as I go around, you'll notice the glue is going to go, it's white initially, right? Like glue is white, but then it's going to get clear. That does not mean it's dry and that you have to start again. It is still tacky. And that is actually what I want to use at that point, because then it's not going to spread all over. It stays in one spot. It becomes more of a solid than a liquid, but it does stay tacky. So don't think you have to add more when it goes clear. Just slow taps around. Don't need a lot of this glue. The Tombow glue works really, really well. All right, now I tried to leave that one spot open there, and I'll explain that in a second. So let me just, and I'm just going to put that off to the side because I'm actually going to let that all become clear and tacky. All right, so let us work with this piece here. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to take, this is that middle part, I'm going to take some glue and I'm going to put it all along this edge. And I just need a little bit, not a lot. And then I'm going to line up my card like this and have that glue set. So now put it down so I can have something solid to press against. Make sure it lines up everywhere, top and bottom, and then fold it over. Make sure you do that, because if you don't, you might lose that edge. And I really wish I had my DSP over further, which I didn't do. Okay, but make sure you don't just line it up and let it dry that way, that you do fold it. That makes a big, big difference. And then I can go ahead and we can take this and just glue it on. I like to have it closed when I do that, then I know I'm in the right spot. Now this is embossed, so it will take more glue. Now don't use gobs of it, but you want to make sure it's got enough glue on there that it's going to hold that embossing on. All right, so there we go. And then when we open it, we'll have our inset piece. Now I'm going to take this, and you'll notice this has two different, it's different on the top and different on the bottom. I want the part I want at the top is this part here that has a little bit of a slit in the top. So I didn't put any glue there. I left that open. And I'm just going to pop up and grab the ribbon. I got a couple different ribbons here I wanted to show you. This is the ribbon that came with the suite, and it's this gorgeous scalloped edged ribbon. It's like a, oh, what's the name? Petal pink color. And so I was thinking I could put that through that slit and just have it at the top here. That was my thought. But then as I went to get the ribbon, I'm like, wait a minute, I have white ribbon over here. And that's what I used some of this on my other card. And I thought, well, maybe the white would look better than the pink. I'm not liking it, so the white's out. There was a different white ribbon. that came out that might be a little bit better. But then there's this gold, which I really like too. It's really wide, but it's very easy to manipulate. And I'm just wondering if maybe that, so if we fold it over on itself, I'm going to have to get, I'm going to use this piece, this tool here. So the spatula end of my take your pick. I'm just going to use this. I want to be very gentle because if I change my mind, then kind of, I don't want to damage this anymore. Just going to push it through like that. And then it can come up like this. I kind of like that. I like it. Right, so this is the open weave trim, gold open weave trim. Really, really nice. It really is very soft to the touch. It looks like when I first saw it in the catalog and when a demonstrator was using it, I'm like, oh, that looks very prickly was the word I wanted to use. But it isn't. It's very, very soft and pliable. And I think I'm going to just get some twine and we'll tie that at the top and have a little bit of a gold, which I think that looks quite nice. We'll open this up. So I folded it in thirds to be able to get it in there, but I think I'm going to just do that. So I'm going to grab the twine. I'll put these back. And bear with me, please. Challenge. I said I cleaned my my room. I can't find the twine. I did have other twine out here. So these are the retiring colors for the 2023-2024 jute trim. I'm just wondering if we could use some of this. Now, the jute is considerably thicker, but I'm thinking let's just pull it apart and we have a piece of twine. And I'll use that. Now, there are various thicknesses, so I'm going to grab kind of the thinnest one here. Just pull it out. And then we will tie it up. I have tied this gold ribbon and it ties quite nice. The problem with the way this scallop is here at the top, I'm just afraid that that's going to be, it'll wreck it. So I don't want to do that. It's not what I'm going to turn this upside down because I find if I do a bow, or to do a bow rather, if I do the two little bunny ears, you know, like we used to teach our little ones, and cross them over, the whole bunny ear bow trick, but doing it upside down kind of puts it the right way on the card. Sorry, you have to bear with me. My arthritis, or this stupid arthritis, I don't want to say I refuse to claim it. It is something that has attacked my body, but I refuse to say it's mine. I didn't ask for it. I don't want it, and I want it to get it. But the arthritis that is struggling in my fingers is causing me to have issues doing this. But see how doing it upside down now, those tails are the right way. Okay, so I got a little bow there. I'm just going to keep making it smaller and smaller because I don't really want a big bow. I could have just done a knot, but yeah, why bother when I can do a bow? Okay, so just kind of straighten it out. And then we'll cut those tails off. And there we go. And I'm just going to trim this at the top so it's level with the top of the card. I'm just going to kind of push it down, bring my snips in here and snip that off like that. Now the gold is very faint, like it's not overwhelming by any way, shape, or form, but it just gives a nice sparkle and I think a nice addition. We could have gone with something brighter. That would have added to it for sure. But I kind of like just the subtleness of that. And I would rather have had a better jute, like the natural color ideally would have been nice, but I don't know where it went. I'll find it, but not right now. Okay, so now we've got all of that done. Let's figure out what we want to put on this. So we just have this size to put something on. With my other card, I decorated around the edge. So when you open it up, you can see I put those pieces in there. I even used Wink of Stella to give them a bit of a sparkle. If you can see, I went over these and these. But I don't know if that's something if we want to add something to this, because we have this nice frame around and we're going to have to put a sentiment. So I don't know. We'll see. Who do we want? I'm thinking somebody smaller rather than larger. Like this is just going to be too big. So it covers the whole, we're not going to use the big guys. So we've got these kind of medium size ones, which are kind of cute. Right. He's not too bad. I think he's taken up too much of it. This is a cute little guy. I like him, the little mouse. I think that's pretty sweet. And I like it when it closes that it covers something, so it's almost like a bit of a surprise when you open it. Tail, not so huge of a surprise, but you know. There's this little guy too. He's pretty sweet, and that's actually kind of what I was thinking of when I picked these colors, because I thought he'd look pretty cute right there like that. We do have this little guy. He's pretty cute as well. And you'll note there's a stamp and a die that does this guy, but he's flipped. So it's kind of interesting that's the way it is. We could just skip a character and just go with a nice little pot like that. That's also quite nice. So I like the little duck. These guys are too big. There's the little berries. They're pretty sweet, but there's really no red. A carrot. Little greenery. I found I could not keep all of these straight. They just kept going everywhere, so I had to just finally cut them or poke them all out. There are these ones. We could use something like that to go along the frame. And we could even do something like that. Or we could take these and go inside here, which I kind of like that idea as well. So we could do that or like that. We could have the little duck, and then you open up and we got the duck and maybe the flowers down here. Or where was the reeds or the cattails? That would be cute too, to kind of have them stuck in here. as a little bit of a surprise. So you're seeing one thing and then you open them up and you see something else. What else have we got here? These are cute, these little flowers. That might be cute with the little duck. Here's another one. I think for this color, this little guy is better. See, this is where I'd like you to be here. You'd be live with me and help me with this. Give me some ideas. Now, he's kind of cute. He's going to spread out across. When we close it up, we can see him. And we could even position so we see him reaching, but we don't know what he's reaching for. And then when we open it up, we see that he's reaching for that little acorn. That's kind of cute. Kind of like that. I was thinking of something like the wheelbarrow, but that's just too much. You know what? I'm thinking I like this. I like that color in that. And then in here we could put some, maybe, the carrots. I don't know if I want the carrots. Maybe even do something like that. So here we just have that simple little pot, and then when we open it up, we see we've got some, because there's these little flower or leaves rather are like this, and then we can have some color there like that, and the plant there, and then our sentiment we can have somewhere on the front. I think that's where I'm going with this. All right. So that's going to go back before I forget it. There's other cute little frames here too, like this little one here, or this square one. I used the square one for, I'm sure I showed it before. I used this one that one time, which here I did some stamping behind, and then put this little guy, and I thought that worked out really well. I don't know why I didn't like it this time around, but, and then this one I thought was so cute. So this frame, and this was the other paper that came with it, designer series paper, like a plaid type paper, but I like that. So those frames I think are very, very sweet. I think this one's my favorite, this frame, but you know, because we're not going to add anything else on the outside, I think I'm going to actually put this on with dimensionals. And again, we're putting it on embossed paper, so we want to make sure it's going to stick. So definitely want 2 for this. And I'm just going to center it in there. I could even take my Wink of Stella, which this is a Wink of Stella. This has fluid down in here, sparkly type fluid. And then it just paints on. It's like sparkles in glycerin almost. And it's a very fine sparkle, so it's not overwhelming. And you can put it in little areas, right? You can just paint it on with the brush. And it doesn't, like, I'm sure you can't really see that there, the sparkle, but it is. And you can build on it. Like, I could keep adding more to make it a little bit more prevalent, but I think it's just a subtle enough that I like it like that. All right. So then here, the question is, do we want all of these other things there? Maybe just that underneath. And I'm going to have to glue this down because this is now because it's an inset or inside piece. If I put it on dimensionals, it's just not going to work. All right. So Stampin' Up! Has come out with a lot of different ephemera type things, which are pretty awesome. But this set did not come with the ephemera that has words on it. So we have to use a sentiment. You don't have to, but what type of card is it, right? Is it an Easter card? Is it a spring card? Is it a thank you card? Is it what? So I think with the pots, I'm like, you know what? Spring sounds good. Welcome spring. And so what I did for the other one, I will show you. So let's put this welcome or happy spring rather on my block. I'm going to get out some garden green or mossy meadow. Mossy meadow is just a little bit darker. It might be better for a sentiment. And then I'm going to get, I've got this green piece here, which maybe I'll use behind it. Maybe not. And then I need some white, I think, or what I use is very vanilla. Very vanilla. And I will put happy spring on there. It is not spring here. We are having a very difficult time with our weather. We had a terrible, terrible ice storm. It got cleaned up fairly good in our area. I know some areas are really struggling with it. Still, I didn't like the way that stamped. I'm going to do it again. So tap, 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 tap. In the ink, don't push don't push down on your ink. Just tap it. Yeah, so the ice storm with us, we didn't even lose power. Some people very close to us did, just depended on what trees came down, right? But we're just getting it cleaned up. Weather started to turn nice, and then it's now snowing out there, like a wet snow. I don't like that. Not happy. Okay, so I'm just cutting this, and I want to use this. Pick a punch. Pick a something punch. So it's the edge here that we're going to get. And you can have 3 different sizes. So the one size is 1/2 inch, then 3/4 inch, or 1 inch. So I think we're going to do, tried to do it so it'd go half, but I think we're going to have to do 3/4. All right, and then we're going to use this rounder one. So what you do is you just guide this in, find your track. So the inside track would be that 1/2 inch. This is 3/4 inch. You can see it fits in that track. And then this would be that full inch. So slide it in, and it works better with longer sentiments. But then you see at the back, there it is. So as long as it's sitting even in that track, it's going to be even. And just come down, make sure it looks good, and then pop it out. Pull it back out and do the other side. Like I say, it works better with longer dies. And I have had it where I'll sometimes just do one edge. I'll scallop it or whatever. So there we go. Really handy way to do your sentiments. So there I think I'm just going to pop that on there like that. And then we will put I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think here. I want to make sure I'm putting these in the right spot so they're not going to get in the way of it closing properly. I just want to go to the side like that. Make sure it's not touching there. There we go. Happy Spring comes in, and then I will add an inset piece that's a little long. I'll probably make it the right size here to go in. With the other one, I took some of our designer series paper and put across the bottom. So I will finish that up after, but that's our little spring card. You could put something in here. I was also going to do some jewels. I think because we have the gold here, I want to use the gold, and these are the blooming pearls. So if I use a couple gold ones here, the gold one on my, there's kind of the two sizes, the larger and the small ones. There we go. Just pop them in there, and that's our card for tonight. So thank you for joining me. I know kind of a little bit hither-skither tonight, but something different, or a different fold. Very easy to do. Just make sure you get your measurements right. Like that will bother me. And of course, you could do another sentiment in here. You could put something on this side as well, but it just adds to it, and just popping that up I think makes it look nice. All right, thank you again. Have a good evening, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.